Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a hypothetical scenario, which may not be that hypothetical to some people if you do think that Nikki Haley could win the Republican nomination in 2028. And I personally believe that she does have a decent chance of doing so because if you really think about it, if Donald Trump had dropped out in 2024, then his base would split between Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy, and that would open up the door for Haley to narrowly become the victor. Now, obviously, that did not happen, but if he had dropped out, then his base would split, and she would actually end up winning the nomination back in the 2024 primaries. And as we all know, Donald Trump cannot run for a third term in 2028, so maybe she actually has a better chance of becoming the nominee in the 2028 primaries on the Republican side. Now, she will be going up against Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, in this exact scenario. So this is basically two women. It comes down to two women battling for America in the 2028 election. Gretchen Whitmer on the Democratic side and Nikki Haley on the Republican side. This may or may not be hypothetical depending on whether you believe Gretchen Whitmer or either Nikki Haley could potentially be the nomination. And by the way, Nikki Haley actually came in second place last time, so I do think there is a decent chance she does. So before we get on with the prediction, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss on my content, press the like button, share this video. Don't forget we have memberships, you can find the links to that in the description section if you are interested. So I actually believe that Gretchen Whitmer is second in line behind Governor of Pennsylvania Josh Shapiro in terms of the Democratic nomination. In third place, I have Gavin Newsom. That's just my prediction. So let's begin with the states that we have not filled out yet, gray, which are the true battleground states. Florida has just gone too far to the right for any Democrat to overcome, even if it's the strongest candidate. Even Barack Obama can't do anything with this state. It's just gone too far. Donald Trump managed to win it by nearly 14 points in the 2024 election. Same thing goes for Iowa as well. And then Colorado's a solid blue state. I mean, Kamala Harris really solidified that in 2024. It was not close at all, and New Mexico is also pretty likely comfortable for majority Democrats. Donald Trump did not make it close. I mean, he only came within like 6.5%. That is not close enough. I think this state has gone too far to the left as well. Now, what I do want to mention is New Jersey is no longer a solid blue state. It is now a battleground because Kamala only won it, as we all know, by just over 5 percentage points. And in the election prior, back in 2020, Biden had won it by 16. So that's a shift of over 10% to the right. And even Hillary Clinton, you can argue is as bad as Kamala in terms of candidate-wise, managed to still win it by 14 points. And Harris only got it by 5.5. So that goes to show you that New Jersey is now, a contested battleground state. So let's begin with New Jersey, actually. I do think it will be likely for Gretchen Whitmer in this scenario. I do think there will actually be two likely states, Mexico and New Jersey, obviously, for Gretchen Whitmer in this scenario against Nikki Haley. Now, I do think that Donald Trump will perform better than Haley in this scenario, and obviously Gretchen Whitmer is a stronger candidate than Kamala Harris, which is why I have Nikki Haley underperforming Donald Trump in the state of New Jersey despite shifts and trends. Obviously, in 4 years from now, in 2028, you can expect New Jersey to get even more to the right. But because Gretchen Whitmer is a stronger candidate than Haley, and I mean 2028 would be less favorable for Republicans in terms of the environment than 2024 was. I can see New Jersey still being a contested state, but instead of lean for Kamala Harris back in 2024, she won by 5.5. I could see Whitmer winning it by a margin of 6 to maybe 7% in this scenario. And then as for the likely states for Nikki Haley on the other side, I think Ohio could be likely for I have her winning it by about 9 percentage points in this scenario. The main reason why is because obviously it borders the state of Michigan, and Gretchen Whitmer has that name recognition from the Rust Belt. Obviously, Ohio is from Rust Belt state, so she has that appeal. Nikki Haley obviously is not from the Rust Belt, which is where I see she will struggle in, which will really benefit Democratic support, especially in the Rust Belt. That's where they need to improve. Compared to 2024, it was a disaster for them because Kamala Harris was just a bad candidate and she was not from the Rust Belt at all, which is something that Gretchen Whitmer can do. She does have that Rust Belt appeal. But Ohio's not going to be too close because obviously it is a heavily a Republican state. And then we have the state of Texas, obviously another likely state for Nikki Haley. And Donald Trump really solidified the fact that Texas is no longer I would say it's not really a battleground state. Trump managed to win it by 13 points, similar to the margin he won Florida by. Even Ted Cruz, who you can argue is way less popular than Donald Trump, still won this state by double digits, when in fact in 2018 he actually almost lost it. That was a huge swing to the right. I think Texas is only going to get redder as time goes on. The Democratic Party's hope of flipping this state or making it close is no longer going to come true. And now the one more likely state actually for Gretchen Whitmer is going to be her home state, obviously, of Michigan. She is the governor of the state. She won back in the 2022 midterms by about 10 percentage points. So she did be able to get double digits. That is very good for her, especially considered this is a swing state and she won by that great of a margin. She did. And 2028 will be obviously less favorable for Dems than 2022 was. So I can imagine it will be slightly closer. And keep in mind, this is not a governor's race. This is the general election against Nikki Haley. So I see Gretchen Whitmer winning her own home state of Michigan by about 6 percentage points. That's considered a likely margin. And now we move on to the lean states for both of these candidates, starting off with Gretchen Whitmer. I think Virginia will be considered lean for her. I have her winning it by about 5.5 percentage points. I can see Minnesota actually being lean for her as well. I would see her winning it by a little bit under 6 points, maybe 6. It really depends. And that's basically the only two lean states I have Gretchen Whitmer winning. Now, I actually do believe Virginia is shifting towards the left, especially considering that Glenn Youngkin will no longer be the governor in this state. He really helped Donald Trump, and he won't be able to help Nikki Haley in 2028 if she does somehow get the nomination. So I actually see this state shifting further to the left. I was shocked that Kamala Harris won this state by the amount she did, by 5.5 points. That goes to show you that it's not as Republican as some people thought it would be. She actually overperformed the polls. Therefore, I can see Gretchen Whitmer winning it by likely margin. But the reason why I have her winning it by lean instead of likely is because Virginia likes, establishment type of candidates, moderate Republicans. That's what got, George H.W. Bush elected in 2004. They like moderate type of candidates. They don't like the populism that Donald Trump brings. So I think Virginia will be more friendly to Nikki Haley than it was to Donald Trump for all three of those elections. So this state is one of those states that I think Nikki Haley might actually do better than Donald Trump in. And same thing goes for Georgia, which we will get to later, because those two states favor more of the establishment type of candidates rather than populism that Trump was all about. So now the lean states for Nikki Haley will be Arizona, Georgia, which we will now talk about, and North Carolina. So Georgia, I think, is shifting towards the left. It's pretty clear. Obviously, in 2020, they elected not one, but two Democratic senators, and Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff for the special election, which he will be up for re-election in the 2026 midterms. We'll talk about that in another video, as I have previously in other videos as well. But I do believe that Nikki Haley, because she's more of a moderate type of candidate, I think she fits better with Brian Kemp, who is the current governor of this state, because they both are not populist whatsoever. They are considered part of the establishment, whatever you want to call it. They are, Nikki Haley's moderate. I'm not sure about Brian Kemp. So I do think that will help Nikki Haley in Georgia. So even though the state is shifting more bluer, I do see her kind of outperforming Donald Trump in a way. She would win this state by about almost 3 percentage points. And then you have Arizona, another Sunbelt state. It has a lot of neocons in the state. Obviously, you have the McCain-style Republican voters in the state, the Mitt Romneys of Arizona, that really hurt Donald Trump in 2020. But for some reason, I think we all know, because of the border, they all, supported Trump in 2024, which is why he had a great victory in this state. Actually, it was better than in 2016. It was like by 5.5 percentage points. So Arizona is a purple state. It is a true purple state because they have two Democratic senators. Obviously, they just elected Ruben Gallego, and they have Mark Kelly for the past few years now. So don't get me wrong, Arizona, futuristic-wise, is definitely not shifting red. In fact, it is shifting blue. But I do believe that because this state does have a lot of neocon-style Republicans, Nikki Haley would actually strive in this state, and she will make inroads or improvements in, I would say, maybe Maricopa County or Yuma or Navajo County in Arizona, similar to Donald Trump. May not get his margin, but I do think she will, she will cancel out the shifts that favor Democrats. Therefore, she's going to win it. And then the tilt states for Gretchen Whitmer, actually, I do believe she will get one more. I forgot about that. With Minnesota and Virginia, that's Wisconsin. I do believe Wisconsin is a lean Democratic state for Gretchen Whitmer again versus Nikki Haley in this scenario. Wisconsin has proved to be the bluest Rust Belt state of the three in the 2024 election. It actually surprised me. It voted to the left of both Michigan and Pennsylvania. Trump only had won it by 0.8 or 9 percentage points. Meanwhile, he won both Michigan and Pennsylvania by over 1.5 percentage points. So the fact that Wisconsin is more bluer than Michigan and Pennsylvania in terms of the environment, I think it's more friendlier to Democrats. Nikki Haley does not have any Rust Belt appeal. She will struggle in there. Gretchen Whitmer does have that Rust Belt appeal. Therefore, I see Whitmer winning Wisconsin in this scenario versus Haley by about 2.5 percentage points. And then Michigan, I have her winning it by 6. Obviously, that's her own home state. So now we have 3 more states that we have not filled out: Nevada, Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire. I actually have 2 of those tilt for Whitmer and 1 of them tilt for Nikki Haley. So I actually have Haley barely winning Nevada by about 1 percentage point. So that means it will shift 2 points towards the left, even though Haley still wins it. Obviously, because Trump won it by 3.1%, I would have Haley winning it by just about 1 percentage point. This state has shifted really, really red. So I think it's going to be hard for Whitmer to pull off the victory, even though I think she can. But I do think that she will do better than Kamala in some of these counties, like Washoe and obviously, the Vegas area, Clark County, than someone like Kamala Harris, who was just a bad candidate. And obviously, 2024, it will not be as friendly towards Republicans than 2028 would be. It would be more friendlier towards Democrats. Therefore, I see Nevada being a whole lot closer. But still, because of the shifts in the trends, really favor Republicans, especially 2028. I see Haley narrowly pulling out the victory in this state. I mean, they voted for George H.W. Bush in 2004, so I think they favor not only populists like Donald Trump as well, but they also favor more of those moderate neocon type of Republicans as well. And Gretchen Whitmer doesn't have that West Coast appeal. Neither does Nikki Haley. But I do think Nikki Haley does have the upper hand in that state. And then the last 2 states, Pennsylvania, obviously, I think it's pretty simple. Gretchen Whitmer has that Rust Belt appeal. Nikki Haley does not. I do think Whitmer will make inroads in Pennsylvania, some of these stronghold Democratic counties that Kamala Harris failed to do. And I don't think that homage vote will come out this time like it did for Trump. It won't help Nikki Haley. That was very rare to see. I think Trump actually got lucky. Obviously, you had that failed assassination attempt that happened in Butler County, which was next door to Pittsburgh. It really boosted Trump's turnout. That is not here to save Nikki Haley this time around. And if Gretchen Whitmer picks Josh Shapiro, which I think would be smart for her as her VP, if she does end up being, the nominee, then I think that will really boost her chances significantly of winning Pennsylvania. Therefore, I characterize it tilt Democrat by about 1% versus Nikki Haley in this scenario. And then New Hampshire, you're probably wondering, why do I have it, closer than it was in 2024? Because it is one of those states that Nikki Haley actually won, I believe, back in the 2024 primaries. They favor neocons, more of those moderate type of Republicans. Obviously, same thing goes for Chris Sununu. He is not populist. He is more moderates. I wouldn't say establishment, but they do favor more of those moderate type of Republicans. Nikki Haley is one. I believe she won this state back in the 2024 primaries, which was pretty hard to do. Donald Trump did not win it. Not really a surprise to anybody. Obviously, we kind of expected that. But still, because of that, I do think Haley does do better than Trump in a few states, actually. Georgia, I would say North Carolina, because she's from South Carolina, even though it's not the same state, but still it's around that area. Virginia as well. And you can argue Arizona. And now I would say New Hampshire is where Nikki Haley does improve on Donald Trump's margin. But still, I do think New Hampshire is actually getting more bluer. It has a lot of college-educated voters, which I think Gretchen Whitmer does do extremely well with college-educated voters, which is why she won by 10 points back in the 2022 midterms. So Nikki Haley does not have enough support, in my opinion, to win New Hampshire. Therefore, Whitmer will still win it. So she will get exactly 270 electoral votes, becoming the next president of the United States, to Nikki Haley's 268, an extremely close election in this scenario. So this is my map between Whitmer and Haley. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Do you think this matchup is realistic? Why or why not? And one last final reminder is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss all my content, press the like button, share this video. Don't forget, we have memberships. You can find links to that in the description section if you are interested. That's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching.